Today, we're going to have a serious conversation about the infamous lockbox, okay? So for those of you who are watching my channel, you know how much I hate these things. And to be fair, I have a love-hate relationship with them. So this video is going to talk about the pros and the cons of using a lockbox. And for those of you who are interviewing agents that are adamant about using the lockbox, we'll talk about some, we'll just say rules of engagement when hiring agents and what to expect when you are using a lockbox or not using a lockbox. Let's get into it. So we're just going to talk about the things I hate the most about lockbox first. And the one that comes top of the mind, and this is just my own opinion, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out there, especially agents, that are going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. And that is, I think it's a disservice. You as a seller are paying a lot of money to have that listing agent represent your house, okay? They know the house, they know the features and benefits, they should know the amenities, they should know the pros and cons and how to sell the house. And if they're not here while the buyer's agent's here and the buyer, who's representing the house? I mean, that listing contract specifies that the listing agent is the one responsible for negotiations and is the one that should be representing you in the sale of the property. And I just don't get how a lockbox does that for you. And the other reason why I don't like lockbox is because it's just not safe, right? You have visitors in your house that are not being watched. What happens if the visitor goes to the restroom, flushes the toilet overflows, and they leave the house and it's not caught in time, or they accidentally crack the refrigerator door and doesn't, shut all the way, and then you burn out the refrigerator motor? Or what happens if you have the bad guys in your house and they're like cracking windows and not shutting the doors all the way so that they can come back later and sack the place? I'm serious, this really does happen, which is why I don't like this lockbox. It's not the safest method. Now, a lot of the agents you're going to be talking to are going to say, no. We use a very high, sophisticated, state-of-the-art lockbox where we can track all the agents who are coming into the property because we have the super box is what we call it out here in California, and it reads the phone. So the agent has to get a special key in their phone, and you can see we push this little bottom and the light should flash as it reads it. And then the listing agent's been notified that the house has been opened by another agent. And so we track everybody that comes and goes. It's really safe. Okay, baloney. Baloney. Okay, what happens if you have 20 people looking at your property and they're all using this little lockbox, right? And you're getting 20 agents' contact information. You don't know who's the one that just stole the Audra or which one, left the back door open. And a lot of you have reached out and shared their stories where when they're using lockbox, they have a few agents come through the property and they don't even lock up behind them. Like, this is not a good, safe process, in my opinion. Now, most of the agents you're going to talk to are going to recommend putting this heavy lockbox on the front door. I hate that. Now, I just took my California continuing education, and they actually recommended that we don't put these lockboxes on the side of the house because the neighbors will think that there's a bad guy going around the side of the house and call the cops. So they recommend putting this out in the front. Most agents put this on the front door where everybody can see it. So this brings undue attention to the house. A lot of people will be looking at this going, is it vacant? Or better yet, you have that dingling agent that's driving his buyers around, the buyer family around, and they happen upon this house. They see a lockbox and says, hey, let's go inside. So they open up the front door with their phone and, the family's still living inside. Now, I know some of you who are watching me are like, yeah, that happened to me. I was sitting there eating dinner and the next thing I know, I have a family intruding on me. And then when I asked the agent what they were doing here, and he said, I cleared it with the listing agent, which of course is a lie, okay? Or, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up with another house. That's not cool. That's really not cool. Just drives me crazy. Now, the only thing worse than the super box is the standard lockbox, right? So the agent will give the code with the key in here and it doesn't reset. And now anybody you give the code to can come back and there's no tracking. So if your agent is using this, oh my goodness, I swear to Buddha, you guys have got to get that off that property. This is way too much risk for you as a seller. So another reason why I don't like the lockbox is because most agents will tell you that they put a lockbox on the property because it will help your property sell faster because they can get more buyers through because they can't be everything to everybody and they have other listings that they have to pay attention to. So the quickest way to sell your house is to make it available to the public anytime, every day, and to have easy access to the property. So if we put a lockbox on there, if somebody calls me, I'm able to verify with you and they go right to the property, and it's way convenient for everybody involved. That's what they're going to tell you. So what I'm going to tell you is I don't want 100,000 people through my house. I want every person who comes into the property to be pre-qualified. I want to know why they want to buy the property. I want to know what their background is. I want to know how serious they are. If they're just looky-loos, we have no interest in looky-loos, because I promise you, if you're on a lockbox, I'd say 80% of the people that are coming in on that lockbox are probably have no business whatsoever looking at your house or have the ability to purchase your house. So I do believe it is the listing agent's responsibility, even if they're using that lockbox, to give you a call and say, listen, we have an appointment at 1 p.m. on Monday. The buyers are qualified. They're putting 20% down. They're being transferred. They know the area very well. They've been looking now for X amount of months, right? You want to know who is coming into your house. And the problem with Lockbox is that most of the agents out there are just calling the seller and saying, hey, we have an appointment. They don't know anything about the buyer. They don't know if they're pre-qualified, and it's just a big waste of time. And I think the less people through your house, the better. The more people you have through that property, the more risk that you have, and the higher probability that things are going to get dirty or broken, and it's just not going to be in the same condition in which you started the process. So the $1 million question, Audra, do you use lockboxes on your property? And I think this answer is going to surprise you. And that is yes and no, okay? Most of the properties that I list, I am personally showing the property, or somebody on my team is. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of coordination, but we're getting paid a lot of money and we should be representing you. I do have some investors that just want to move the property. They want to reduce commission. So if you want to reduce my commission and you're willing to do lockbox, I'll entertain that. But even if we are using a lockbox, we're still going to go by the end of the day to make sure all the toilet lids are down. We're going to make sure the house still shows nicely. We're going to make sure there's no windows that are cracked or opened, or make sure all the doors are locked and the refrigerator door is shut. Okay, I can't tell you how many issues those refrigerators cause me. But anyway, I will reduce my commission if I am using Lockbox. And the reason for that is because it's a less of a service. There's not as much time invested into the property. And now your next question is going to be, Audra, how much do you reduce your commission? And I'm going to tell you, it really depends on the size of the property, because our commissions are based on the sales price. So I will reduce my commission anywhere from 50 basis points to a solid point on my commission if a lockbox is used. One of the things that lockboxes can't provide any homeowner is the feedback and the vibe on the property. When you have a visitor and the listing agent's there, they get a vibe. They get an idea if the buyer's interested or not, just by the questions they ask or how long they stay. And when you're in a property for 30 minutes to an hour with that buyer, like, you become friends a little bit. You get to know the buyer's agent. You can kind of hear their objections, and there's a way that you can assist in the process. If they have issues with maybe the parking or the school district, you can provide other solutions. That lockbox cannot do that for you. And it is something that I think most listing agents should be offering their homeowners. Now, whether you're working with an agent that uses Lockbox or not, you are always going to ask them for feedback, okay? This is a recent property that I sold in 4 days. Thank you very much. And what I have here on the spreadsheet, this is the spreadsheet that I give all of my sellers, okay? And the first column is, what is the date of the showing? The second column is, who's the buyer or the broker's name? And then what's my feedback? What's my follow-up feedback? And then any additional comments. And I will highlight the ones in yellow that I think are the top buyers for the property. This is really important, that when you're interviewing these listing agents, that you ask them for feedback like this, whether they're using a lockbox or not, okay? Every lockbox entry should be followed up on. You know what I love about Lockbox? One thing and one thing only. And that is, it saves me so much time. I mean, all I have to do is put a lockbox on the property, go buy myself some bonbons, pop the bonbons, and just wait for the offers to come in. That's really how easy it is. I've had agents reach out to me and say, Audra, I have 20 listings. Like, there is no way I can show all those properties if I were to do private showings only. So my response is, if you have 20 properties, even if you have 10 properties, you need to hire showing agents. If you're just putting lockboxes on your 20 properties, just waiting for the offers to come in, like, that is just a disservice, and you are way overpaid for what you're doing. That's just my opinion. A lot of agents have reached out to me saying, Audra, I like what you're saying. I just don't know how you do it. Now, full disclosure, I do have several agents on my team that help show the properties. They are only specialized in the area. They know how I show a property. We meet regularly to make sure everybody knows all the properties. So I do have assistants. But I will tell you that I do not just drop everything when a buyer calls. I try to make it as convenient as possible for the seller. So if I'm showing a property on Tuesday at 3 p.m., more than likely I'm bringing 2 or 3 buyers, scheduling within a window. And I'm also letting those buyers agents know, by the way, I have 2 or 3 people that are showing up. I'm going to give you 30-minute slot. Stay as long as you want, but I just want to be respectful, let you know that there will be other people that I'll be showing the property to during that time. I love that because now the buyer's agent knows, oh, yeah, there's people here, right? Oh, maybe we need to make an offer. It creates a little sense of urgency. I also love open houses. Now, I know a lot of you are just going to unsubscribe when I say that. But the reason why I like open houses is because we get a lot of people that are interested in viewing the property through a window of time. That is very beneficial. And now buyers like to take their own buying experience in their hands. In fact, I would say the last 8 properties that I've sold, every single one of them came through an open house first. So remember that. That's really important. And by the way, my open houses aren't 100 people. I might get anywhere from 10 to 12 people through an open house, and those are not your neighbors, okay? These are legitimate buyers. So there are ways to do it privately. I always will recommend or prefer that you have an agent on the property with the broker that is representing your property present during every showing. It's going to protect you. And in my opinion, every time I do it this way, the property usually sells for a higher price and much, much quicker. Just my experience. Now, for those of you who have been watching my channel, you probably know that I have my own referral business where I actually hired a team of people to scrub the universe to find agents in your area. So if you're interested, I'll put a referral link down below. I'll get to that in just a minute. But my point of mentioning that is that we have been talking to agents all across the nation. Surprisingly, we found so many good ones, but holy smokes, have we found some rotten ones. Oh my gosh. And I will say that 90% of the agents out there are using Lockbox, okay? So if you are in a city or working with an agent that is adamant about using Lockbox, and there's entire cities that are locked down only using Lockbox, then I would suggest that you have conversations and expectations with your listing agent about how to communicate the feedback. There's 2 things I want to make sure that you work with these agents, okay? Number 1 is you want regular feedback. So help them create a spreadsheet like this. We want the spreadsheet updated once a week. We want feedback, okay? The second thing you're going to tell this agent that's using a Lockbox is that you want every single one of the buyers that are coming into the house to be pre-qualified or have the ability to purchase the home. No looky-loos. You want them to verify that up front. So when they're calling you to make an appointment, they have some narrative about who the buyer is, what their situation is, how much they're putting down, yada, yada, yada. That's super important. If you're a buyer and a seller and are looking for good agents to interview in your area, you're welcome to use our service. I will put in the description box a link for you to fill out. And this is a very specialized service, okay? Now, you're not obligated to use the agents that we send you. Of course, I'm a big advocate of you interviewing at least 3 agents. We're going to supply you with anywhere from 1 to 3 agents. When we get that referral request from you, we are literally going to be scrubbing the internet. We're looking in your zip code. We want somebody specialized in your area that are using high images, like the top best quality drone video, best marketing. We're looking at their reviews. We're looking at their past listings to see how they're marketing them. And then we will actually call them directly. This is considered agent to agent. We are hand selecting these agents for you. Now, the time it takes to turn this around can last anywhere from 2 to 5 days. Really depends on how quickly the agents get back to us. If it's something that you're like, no, Audra, I need to, hire an agent like yesterday, then just please write that in your request that this is really important and you need to get these agents sooner than later. We will expedite that for you. Earlier in this video, I told you that I discount my commissions if I'm using a Lockbox. Now, if you're using our referral program, the agents that we're sending you may or may not discount their commission. I don't know. But I can promise you this, that the agents that we're sending you have been thoroughly scrubbed. The goal here isn't to find the cheapest agent to sell your house. The goal here is to find the best representation for you and also to make sure that agent is going to be communicating with you and they're going to be trustworthy and they're going to go the distance for you. And sometimes you get what you pay for. So I just want you to be mindful of that. Okay, this is like the 5th time I'm trying to videotape this clip. So I'm going to have the last say, and that is the real estate industry has been revolutionized by this lockbox. I think it's made it more impersonal, and I also think the services that agents provide has been diminished because of the lockbox, just my opinion. And I remember when I first started real estate, there was a gentleman by the name of Jerry Lamont. He no longer practices real estate, but he was the guy that I wanted to be like. He was super classy, he was kind, he went above and beyond for his clients. He had a group of agents that helped him show all his properties. And I asked him one day, I'm like, Jerry, why do you not use Lockbox? And he mentioned to me, he's like, Audra, I will never do that. He's like, I genuinely care about my clients and I promise them to give them the best service that I can provide. And that Lockbox is not for me. It's not what I do. It's not who I am. And I know my business will continue to come in and I will be blessed because of the efforts. And to this day, I have changed my whole business based on that conversation. And I'm like, you know what? If it's good enough for Jerry, it's good enough for me. I'm very grateful for Jerry who passed on those words of wisdom to me early in my career. And for you newer agents out there, or even some of you seasoned agents out there, like, listen to this video, be open-minded to it. If it resonates with you and you want to make some changes, great. And for you viewers out there that are looking to sell their home, I would just say, try to find those agents that are going above and beyond for you, that are offering those additional services. It really is important. I want you to have a good experience. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. And if you got any benefit, please subscribe to my channel. It means the world to me. All right, see you in the next one.